Tony Khan is a superfan with a CEO's budget. Khan's position as the head of AEW says more about Shad's bank account than it does about Tony's authority, because he has none. I could write an entire anthology on all the times Khan has fumbled as a leader when given the chance, and last week featured a couple shining moments of Tony the Fellator representing himself as AEW's chief executive subredditor. Tony Khan has a photographic memory of ECW Barely Legal 97, but when it's time to lay down the law, he gets amnesia. TK waits by his laptop for the latest Wrestling Observer tabloid of typos, but he's illiterate when it comes to reading the room, particularly when his talent is unhappy, something that's become more of a trend in 2025 than ever. Today, we're going to talk about Tony Khan's fanaticism of pro wrestling and how it makes him unfit to lead AEW during the promotion's most critical period. Subscribe and buy.
Pro Wrestling Bits.
Tony Khan's story is simple. A 1%er wrestling fan whose fortune put him in a rare position to not only start a wrestling promotion, but actually succeed. AEW's success is the ultimate story of right place, right time. Tony Khan didn't build a promotion from the ground up as much as he was a chief executive opportunist who swooped in while ROH was red hot and took advantage of Ring of Honor's most crucial mistake. In 2018, ROH aired its historic All-In pay-per-view centered around the Elite, Cody Rhodes, Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, after Derpy Dave Meltzer used one of his 145,000 tweets to incorrectly predict that the Elite couldn't fill up a 10,000-seat building for an independent show. Cody took that challenge. The event sold out in 30 minutes, and Meltzer's tweet aged about as well as, well, Dave Meltzer. All In was a showcase of pro wrestling's thriving independent scene at the time. The event also presented the perfect opportunity for Tony Khan to vulture some of the biggest free agents in the business and build a core of what would eventually be known as AEW. Not only did Tony steal the Elite from ROH, he eventually stole the All-In pay-per-view model altogether. Just for good measure, in 2022, he bought a depleted ROH, probably out of guilt. Come July 12th at All In Texas, uncreative Khan is set to repurpose a feud made famous in New Japan Pro Wrestling between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. Because in addition to ROH, Colonizer Khan has also pillaged many of the top stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling. The rise of AEW isn't the story of a boy genius who was able to construct a pro wrestling roster from the ground up and build a product filled with creative windfall. It's the story of a Nepo baby who wanted to use his allowance to buy his favorite pro wrestlers, and to his credit, it worked. Get it how you live. AEW's honeymoon period was insane. At their peak, they drew over 20,000 fans to Grand Slam in 2021, which took place in WWE's backyard of Flushing Meadows, New York. AEW drew over 72,000 fans for All In London. Khan's vulturing of CM Punk drew 15,000 fans to the United Center for AEW Rampage First Dance. But one of AEW's finest hours turned into one of its biggest exposés of Tony Khan. CM Punk's stint with AEW ended in disaster, which still haunts AEW to this day. Punk's backstage brawls against the Elite and later Jack Perry led to Punk's firing, and all along the way, Tony Khan was helpless to stop it. This is when the world was introduced to the fanboy Tony Khan we all know today, a man-child with zero authority to speak of, who's better served as an enthusiast than an executive. Tony Khan has since been bullied by his own online fan base into changing theme music. During the AEW media scrum in 2022, he sat terrified as CM Punk ripped into AEW and its EVPs. Khan's fannerisms were once again put on display last week during the Rich Eisen show, where he admitted to being a proud member of the internet wrestling community for 30 years. Jesus Christ.
I've been part of the internet wrestling community for 30 years, since I was a 12-year-old kid. Since 1995, dial-up AOL.
No, Tony. Even if you did grow up as a member of the IWC, you're supposed to be an executive now. Tony identifying himself as a member of the internet wrestling community gives insight into just why he's so bad at conflict resolution and why so many talent have been able to take advantage of him by forcing their way out of their contracts. Also, being an IWC member isn't a good thing. As much as it sounds like an innocent fan interaction or a quirky trait by Tony Khan, more times than not, the radicalized IWC are some of the most deranged, batshit, and racist trolls and troglodytes on the South African internet. Bragging about being a member of the IWC is like bragging to a girl about your sword collection on your first date. It's not the flex you think it is. Tony later posted this comments in Dave Meltzer's replies when Meltzer announced the Wrestling Observer Tabloid was scrapped due to his outdated method of writing the run-on sentence disguised as a newsletter. Clearly, Dave didn't evolve, study, or learn what a cloud server is, poor guy. Tony Khan positioning himself as one of the fans leaves him vulnerable to be eaten alive by his own talent. It's why so many veteran wrestlers have been able to use AEW as a launching pad to future WWE success. It's why Tony Khan doesn't have the spine to stand up to his own talent because despite his job title, he's not their boss. He's their biggest fan. During a backstage exchange with Maven, Khan asked Maven, "Do you know where you were on Halloween 2004? Khan went on to recall a live WWE event where Khan saw Maven wrestle. AEW head of PR Dementia Dave Meltzer constantly tells the story of Shad Khan taking Tony Khan to an ECW live event after getting good grades. Khan has insisted that fans have a major impact on booking, a philosophy that sounds good on its face, but booking pro wrestling isn't just about listening to fans. It's about understanding your fan base and giving them what they want based on your vision. Listen to all the fans long enough, and like Tony Khan in the ECW arena, you'll be sitting with them. What's particularly concerning about Tony Khan is he's a wrestling fan rather than an entertainment fan. AEW isn't known for their cinematic storylines as much as they are known for a territory with a group of interchangeable matches. Even when they do try to tell a long-term story, like with Jon Moxley and the Whitepool Combat Club, it's the worst storyline in the history of AEW. All in Texas will basically be an event that puts the Death Riders out of their misery. So for those of you paying attention, Tony Khan is a vulture and a superfan with no creativity, even less authority, and his vision is essentially to give a bunch of fellow IWC members professional wrestling. With big changes coming to WBD, they gotta do better than that. Tony Khan and AEW are headed into a pivotal period come mid-2026. The extremely tumultuous WBD is preparing to split. Currently drowning in debt, WBD has had to offload the NBA, Batgirl, Coyote vs. Acme, and a host of expensive properties that it simply can't carry despite their popularity. Don't think for 1 second that AEW isn't vulnerable to falling into that category. This is an interchangeable situation that involves attention to detail and a true leader to guide AEW through the dark. And if that position belongs to a self-admitted IWC member, I'd be scared to death. If I'm an AEW talent, you're telling me there's uncertainty about AEW's status in 2026 and my career will be in the hands of a human message board? No thank you. Check out this video and subscribe. Will Tony Khan's fandom lead to his downfall? Tell me in the comments!